Vale. Vídeo perfecto. Vale, one second, cuando me hayas programado. Bien. Ok, ready.
Ready. Wait, signal. Ждем, wait.
Vale. ¿Eso es el pique de salida? Vale, sí, el otro como va al de atrás. Vale, lo veo. Vale.
The blue is Spain drone team and the yellow being Belka team. Right now, though, a comfortable lead for our favourites.
Yeah, exactly. The top two, as we expected, getting away from the rest of the field as they come towards the end of the opening lap. Techno League leading the way, followed closely by Rolf Spain drone team, have been caught and are being challenged at the moment by Belka team for third position.
Now into the second lap, still of course Techno League as we are following on the coverage as they negotiate their way through particularly difficult section through that, and as well you were knowing through qualifying yesterday for those that joined us, particularly tricky, and just look at the suave, I suppose, of Techno League as they negotiate their way through. Interestingly though, of course, Rolf able to consolidate that second position. A bit of a shame for Spain drone team and for Belka. They need to find something to come back at this because currently the top two are running away with it, and those are the ones that get those tickets to the semi-final.
Well, there's a very long way to go, remember that, and remember that they've got only 4 batteries for 50 laps, and if you go too fast, you're going to wear a battery out too quickly, and that means you have to make more pit stops, or indeed you might even not make it to the end if you're not too careful. But look at the gaps there after just 3 laps. Techno League leading by 3 seconds overall, but it's the gap from second to third which is the really notable one. By the way, the starting pilots for Spain drone team race to 250 is starting. Newer pilot Rolf is starting there, currently running in second, and Cubes has started for Belka team. Do a pilot swap up halfway.
Yeah, of course they're mandated to. They have to do a pilot swap as well as that strategic element where they swap the battery on the drone. So typically, I would expect maybe the teams to split their stint in half. So the pilot stint in half. One pilot does 12 laps and then 13 laps, or the other way around. The other pilot does exactly the same. But what we see from Techno League, this is pretty quick pace. In all honesty, already of course a few laps into this one, 5 laps into the race. Pretty quickly as things stand, but again, consistency is the name of the game.
That was very, very close between the race leaders, Techno League and Belka team. You saw at the far end through the pool gate there.
Vale, avisarme cuando...
Vale. Belka team for the first time. Same thing about to happen to Spain drone team at the moment. They're close to being lapped here.
Yeah, we're on board at the moment with Belka team, as you can see, running P3 as it stands, and already a lap down relative to Techno League. Very close behind them, of course, is going to be that Spain drone team trying to chase after them also as well. Rolf being the ones doing it, the lapping. They've already completed 6 laps of the 50, so we're well and truly on the way, over the 10% race distance. And a good move going there for Rolf to get through.
That was very nice from Rolf there. And Spain drone team having real trouble with the snake eyes at the moment. The last 2 laps they were tied through there, and there's a change for third place. So Belka team moving to third in front of the Spain drone team. That's the sound of a gate. You have to put it out as somebody keeping a gate. It's not something you can get away with too often.
No, absolutely not. They've got to be careful to manage the damage. I have to say, I'm really impressed with Rolf here. Whatever road plan they're going with, only 4 seconds off Techno League, who was so dominant yesterday in qualifying. And just for perspective, over 6 laps, Techno League were just under 7 seconds quicker. So, of course, with the strategy still yet to unfold, at least in this opening phase of the race, Rolf staying in touch with the leaders pretty well as they close the gap actually to 1.2 seconds.
Yes, coming down and down and down. Great flying at the moment from Newman pilot. Gets to the media centre end right in tow of that red drone in front. So in the red is Techno Drone League, who were the fastest qualifiers in the digital world yesterday, and Rolf, who were 5th place in
Tiempos.
digital qualifying, as he said, nearly 7 seconds
Vale, voy muy fuerte.
the best time. They are really challenging. Shootouts end on the last lap as well.
Yeah, sensational
Vale.
stuff, of course, Rolf maybe seeing at that race winning position in front of them and going for it. But the other thing here is how much do they want to risk it?
Vale.
As it stands, they're in P2, that's more than
Vale,
enough
sí,
to go through into the semi-finals tomorrow.
Vale.
Do they want to risk the challenge?
Recordar, vamos a cambiar en la 12 para 3. Veo un tráfico atrás.
Closer, 9/10 of a second now. After just
Vale.
4.5 minutes, by the way, they've completed 8 laps, which is a decent pace. We'll work out what kind
Vale,
of
lo veo.
pace they're going at. We'll see how many laps they can actually do here. The Spain drone team get out of the way of the leaders. They're back for a second time.
They are indeed, so not really been the day at all for Spain Drone Team. Unfortunately, going to be dropping down, but still plenty of race to unfold. We're heading on to lap 10 of 50, so 20% of the race distance complete, and already halfway through the first stint of these pilots. We should be expecting pit stops in the next couple of minutes or so.
Yeah, we should do. Let's see how long it takes them, though. You'll see them staying to the right. The green drone slowing down quite dramatically, and they have to come in for the first stop. That's only 10 laps on their first battery. They only have 4. And you do the maths at home. That's not enough at the moment. 10 laps.
Yeah, it's not indeed, so they're going to have to do
Perfecto.
what will be a
Atavío, espérate,
14
los-
lap
Prepara, no sale. Avísame cuando enchufes el 2. No sale. Avísame. Vale, ¿qué drone es? ¿El 3? Vale. Vale, veo como el culo,
Also interested to see if
Vale, entraron. Veo mal, a ver.
Yeah, I think they've taken the lead. So quicker pit stop and
Veo como el culo, está 25. No.
They came in a lap earlier, able to run some clearer areas. Spain drone team come back into the pit lane after just a single lap of running on the new drone.
That is a little bit unusual.
Vale.
Again, they would have lost that
Avísame cuál me pones.
from that lost drone that you can see
Vale.
near the quad gate out on the far side. Rolf leading now. What's the gap? It's about 7 or 8
Vale.
seconds at the moment.
Voy muy mal también,
Who are in third position and actually left to
Veo muy mal. Mira cómo se ve en la pantalla. ¿Qué vuelta es? Vale, veo un tráfico atrás. Avísame. Avísame el de atrás. Vale, veo niebla. Vale, hay niebla pero va bien. Sí. ¿Cuántos drones han perdido al resto? Vale, no pasa nada, ¿eh? Esa batería en teoría no la tenemos que sintonizar. Voy a intentar estirar para no tener que hacer un cambio, decirme número de vueltas. Vale.
Be why they came in so soon. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, potentially an issue with the second one. I'm not entirely sure. Truthfully, also follow the red drone, tech drone lead. Only just under 10 seconds off the race lead, but still P2 more than enough to secure that ticket to the semi-finals. What is interesting though is the shift in pace that we've seen from yesterday into today. They could be taking a bit more of a punchy opening stint using the batteries. But then the second pilot, of course, for Rolf, have done a lot to jump in, maybe be a bit more conservative and more the lead.
Now let's just explain what's going to happen here when we have a pilot change, because it is quite exciting. I'm quite excited for it anyway. The pilot on the stage, it has to fly into the pit box as well. We've already seen that with the battery changes. But at that point, they have to take the visor off, and the other pilot who's currently sat waiting in these pit boxes has to run around outside of their pit box onto the stage and get sat down, get the visor on, and get going. So it's a running race as well as a drone race at the moment. And those changes
Vale, ahí se me
coming up on lap
pasar.
25, they have to do them on one way.
Yeah, it's very much putting the physical into the the combination of the
Well,
ball and
no, it's like how,
so I suppose, but they're using some their legs and their
Vuelta
abilities, let's put it that way. We were
número
speaking to some of the series coordinators earlier, saying that the drone race is definitely not running athletes by any means. I'm sure this is going to be a very entertaining and potentially pivotal point of this race.
un poquito.
Absolutely is. We're 3 laps away from that stage now. They're training Belka team, who are in third.
Tiempos de vuelta.
I think they're pacing this very well at the moment, actually. Spain drone team obviously have lost a drone or two, and that is putting them a long way back. But as far as the competition is concerned, the top 2 go through to the semi-finals tomorrow. 3rd and 4th place are knocked out at this stage of the competition. And at the moment, Belka team, they have unlocked themselves some technology. They are really coming into their own now.
Yeah, they're really pushing, and also actually as well, looking for the green drone of Rolf, looking to put a lap on the red drone of Tech Drone League, and with only 1 lap until the next pit window, I was thinking maybe we'd see the green drone back in again, but it seems that they've got the punchy pace and the longevity in this race. It's not just a case that they're going on quicker than
número de vuelta.
Yes, efficiency is what they've got at the moment, as well as speed. Tech Drone League gets away with it. Vatican, I think it is at the moment, not entirely sure, but Vatican or one of the two. For Tech Drone League, just clipping the downward ladder there, just in front of the crowd here, and they get away with it, but they have to ditch this drone again in about a lap's time.
There will be indeed. The leader is on to the 25th lap. Of course, those that are lapped do need to come in when they complete 25 laps into the pit box, though, for the first change, and we are going to see this changeover. Team Rolf, our race leaders, now taking the goggles off and swapping over at the half-distance mark of this race.
And here we go, so we are going to see a change now. Danny is going to be running around the outside of the stage at the moment. Here comes New Pilot running off the stage, taking the visor off. Here we go, running around into the pit box. There goes Danny up to the stage. We'll get the visor on.
¿A cuánto estamos del segundo?
Control your breathing, you've got to be careful that you're not going to be a little bit wobbly when you're coming out onto the track again, because it is.
Han hecho 2 cambios de piloto.
Running around the stage sprinting, and you've got to get yourself back
¿Y
into
quién hace
the Tech Drone League will now do the same.
Vale, ¿y el segundo equipo?
Indeed, they're coming in and will be swapping over the 2 merge mech brothers.
Vamos a la larga,
and Burak, of course, you've dominated the qualifying sessions yesterday, sitting about 30
Número de vuelta.
seconds off of the race lead, as our race leaders have got the drone prepped, ready to go, and ready for takeoff to get themselves back into this race after absolutely bolting from the get-go. Belka as well will be making their way in soon.
Buen sonido.
Race leader, roll down, and they're in total mode. They're going to get back up again. So they've got 10 seconds in total mode to get back up again. If they
Avísame de ese tráfico.
and that's what they've used there to get themselves back into the race.
Avísame el otro.
They did hit the ground, but you are allowed to continue. At the moment, just in front of us, Belka team are struggling to get into their pit box. They might have run out of battery just at the very end there.
Yeah, thankfully it's not too far away from their pit box. If they're able to limp it in, they are able to recover the drone. They're trying very hard, of course, to do that. But on the point, of course, of Rolf, we might well be seeing that first instance of maybe that adrenaline kicking in, getting a little bit shaky.
Vale, voy a meter un poquito porque la batería va bien.
Before pinching the sticks,
Vale.
and when you've got all that adrenaline, you very much are.
Vale, sí, porque hay que hacer
precise
3.
with your inputs. If you've got too much adrenaline, you're a little bit shaky. Those very precise inputs that will and allow you to be so quick, definitely then start to become a little bit more dysfunctional. Seems though, of course, the second pilot for Rolf able to now be settled in, get rid of those jitters and get back into this race.
We've got a pilot change as well for the Belka team after that slightly unusual.
El otro dron lo podremos usar.
The pit box there.
Vale.
Now in the game again. So Tuchek is going to sit down, the obvious man in the competition. Be getting ready to go and launching off very soon. In fact, might have already done so. No, I don't think so just yet, but will do in just a second.
Esta es la de cambio de piloto.
Try and continue to try and
Vale.
chase the Tech Drone League for that
Vale.
important second place.
Yeah, exactly that, of course. It's going to be difficult, of course, with a slightly longer pit
Vale.
stop, but the issues trying to get into the pit box. Maybe at one point you just throw it away and say, okay, this drone is done, it's dusted, we need to swap, we need to preserve our race.
Vale, ya voy.
Well and good conserving drones. You're not going to have any drones to use if you're at the competition.
Final change happening now. So Spain Drone team get themselves into the pit box. Bringing himself is racing to 50. Romo will be running around the outside. There we go. Quick changeover from those two. Probably the best that we've seen so far. They believe they've still got a chance. Belka team with a really slow start, and they've only just got going now. So they're starting lap 26 only just now. We'll see the Spain
been a very strong race. So we're following them, of course, on the live
Sí,
coverage. You
cabrones.
can see that green drone now negotiating their way through the same guys.
Cabrones.
Sensationally done. And it's that perfect blend of longevity, efficiency, and speed. They're consistent and quick, and that is the perfect combination in any sort of a race. They're 2 laps clear of Tectron League in second place.
Con la carrera
Yet
lipo.
it doesn't matter who finishes first or who finishes second. Both of them will get themselves into the semi-finals.
So Rolf are nearly 2 laps in front of Tectron League. You can see the time gaps here, so 36 seconds is the gap between Rolf and Tectron League. That's about a lap and a half. Tectron League have got quite a lot of laps, to be honest. That's nearly a minute and a half over the management team. And then Spectrum team are only just a lap behind management team, a lap and a very little bit. But the gap is quite large at this stage. All Rolf and the Tectron League have to do now, not run out of battery and do not crash either.
Yeah, exactly that. They just need to stay calm and collected. They've got in the form of Tectron League, they've got 4 laps in favour of Belka Team. They can
Oye, hay gente hablando que se silencie.
in an ideal world, they don't want to. But what it does mean is that they can roll up the throttle a little bit more, conserve that energy. If
Vuelta.
they really need to, they probably could afford to come in for another stop, for another battery change. Ideally, you want to avoid doing that, but it does give them that margin. And maybe that is the risk versus the reward of having a really good, really punchy start, like we saw from the green team as well.
About to complete another lap here, Rolf at the end of this one. There'll be 15 laps to go now between now and the end of quarter-final number 1. Of course, it matters which quarter-final, which place you end up in the quarter-final in, by the way. If you're in first place or if you're in second, first place
¿Qué tiempos?
this heat.
Hugo, ve verificando cada vuelta que haga.
Semi-finals tomorrow. Finish second as Tectron League are at the moment. Then you'll be in the second of semi-finals. Tectron League, I believe, have to go 2 laps down now.
Yeah, they are indeed about 43 seconds off of the lead, which means we're probably running around 22 second lap time. So right now, quarter we make our way onto the 38th lap, 37 completed, as you can see on the massive screen behind the stage there. We did predict the fast, really
¿En qué vuelta hacemos el cambio?
area of about 18 seconds. However, interestingly, our race leaders into the pit box.
Yeah, another time in the pit box. So Rolf needing a last battery change. The others going quite far, although to be fair, we'd expect to see something similar from them when they reach something like lap 37. When they get there, obviously we'll take them a couple more laps. In fact, Tectron League are doing it right now. And it's quite intricate to get yourself into the pit box as well.
Yeah, exactly. That is a very small area. And of course, when you've got that FPV, your vision is fairly limited as they make their way in. Of course, a little
ritmo, tiempos.
nice to see the guys at work, changing the battery, getting it back up there as quickly and as efficiently as possible. The race leader has completed 38 racing laps, only a few more left to go. As pretty much expected, they're trying to split it as evenly as possible across the 2 pilots, minimise the battery usage, and so far, absolutely clinical from Team Rolf. And to be fair to Tectron League as well, doing exactly what they need to do and not a little bit more to secure that place in the semi-finals.
Mírame los papeles.
It's a big change from in the digital world to what we're seeing in real life now. Tectron League were the fastest in the digital world yesterday. They are not the fastest out there on the course at the moment. Who's the fourth for them into the semi-final, which is also going to make the States. Somebody's hitting one of the gates. The team of hits make no team out of the way.
I don't know what sort of verdict there are in
Escúchame, la próxima vez el dron, la próxima vez por meta.
At the very least, a black and white warning flag, but here it just seems that all is fair enough war, I suppose, if you're going to go Shakespearean with it.
Tráfico.
That's a 41 laps into the book, so it's the closing stages of this race. Tectron League a couple of laps behind that. Belka and Spain team 2 laps behind that.
La lipo empieza. Me quedan 2 vueltas.
However, one small mistake is
Sí, avísame tráfico que me tienen que quitar yo.
maybe trying to catch after some lap traffic. One small mistake, too many gate stops, and you could be out of this competition entirely.
I'm not seeing the race leader anywhere. I'm not sure if they've crashed somewhere, but I saw a horrible sounding drone a couple of moments ago suggesting that maybe one of the props had been damaged, and I'm not sure what's happened to them at the moment. I'm trying to spot the green drone out there, I can't, and trying to see what's happening on the stage as well, whether they're, the driver currently
Mírame el voltaje, Hugo. ¿Qué piensas?
lifting it up, seeing what's going on. Have they just crashed themselves out of this competition?
Hago una más para la siguiente.
Because they are on the last drone.
Bueno, mira el voltaje. Les doy una vuelta más para si no hay que apretar al final, carrito.
I think they were very lucky that they had the margin behind. They've lost 3 laps relative to Tektroni, who are now our race leaders. Rolf, thankfully with that punchy start, they're going to be counting their lucky stars. And, well, to be fair, of their own volition, to be honest, they were able to get themselves in a position to avoid a mistake like this and still have the margin to retain in the second place. A bit of a sigh of relief, but they've still got to get to the end of this one. As you can see, Tektroni, the most consistent of anyone. Any down, clean strategy, and right down to the race lead. And that's why.
Bien, no quedado. Carrito no la vamos a usar más, ¿no? Miren el voltaje. Ahora pit stop sí o sí. ¿Sí o no? Volaba bien, volaba bien, volaba bien. Vale, ¿quién viene detrás? ¿Puedo salir? Should finish the 50 laps in its entirety, but between the team in Spain team, ideally third or fourth, it doesn't really matter in retrospect in terms of the driver idea of the competition. However, they're not going to have a race to see who can finish as many laps as possible before that time runs out. Para intentar alargar, segundo suave y encima un poquito.
They are indeed looking very, very strong. 30 seconds and thus that.
¿Cuánto tiene la gente?
Full race trip, a lap and a half really, maybe just over a lap in terms of this. Still the running, 3.6 lap of course of the map, so you can see the capacity coming down a little bit for them. Lap would be 48 or 49 even, penultimate lap of racing for Tektroni. And again, they don't just have the speed, they've got the efficiency, they've got the consistency and the very good making of a very strong drone pilot team.
Yeah, they absolutely have. Just a few corners before they are able to call themselves semi-finalists here in the Games of the Future. Victor drone racing. Into the pit lane last time. They don't have enough battery to get to the end. The final 2 laps are going to have to be taken on by a new drone for the Tektroni lead.
Interesting stuff there. Of course, they'll be using an extra battery, maybe just a bit of a conservation thing. They know that Belka team and Spain drone team have got laps behind them, so they're able to maybe afford to drop the second just to guarantee that semi-final.
Los huevos a este, es lo que podemos hacer, ¿no? ¿Qué tal tocados? Vamos, vamos.
It is indeed Tektroni go back out there onto the final lap of racing, 49 and 50 completed, and that could be an opportunity thrown away for Rolf. They've already got the drone.
Está mirando los millamperos, bajamos a los 2300, 2000 y pico. Entonces, me queda la mitad de las vueltas. Vale, espero. Espero no.
They certainly will. Just 2 laps away from doing the same as well. And from that point, the Belka team and Spain drone team are going to know their fate. They are currently just 3 laps behind Rolf, who are taking some risks into the core gate again, where they've already had a little bit of so far today.
They do indeed. Of course, Tektroni still racing around. I think they've now completed the 50 laps. They've gone to 51 there. Maybe a bit of confusion as to where
No, pues sería imposible
Spain only ending their competition in flying fashion.
Spectacular crash from the Spain drone team at the very end there. Through the snake eyes, they just clipped
no tengo, bro. No, era imposible ir a este ritmo, bro.
And they're still trying to get back on the ground again, but also they're going to
voy a ir a por el otro, ¿cuál es el otro que está en el suelo? Te habéis dejado tú.
They'll finish their day as well. Tektroni and Rolf know they will be in the semi-finals tomorrow.
They do indeed.
Yeah, but I don't know, but I'm
First race to kick things off then. Full of action and not necessarily overtakes as such between these guys. but that anticipation of strategy, not knowing exactly what people are going to do, maybe between teams, not knowing exactly what each other were going to do, and all the way to the wire, it was incredibly close between Tectronly and Rolf, who I have to say really impressed us with their up-and-out pace.
Yeah, they did, but they did go down a couple more times than you would like, and that maybe will hinder them when they're up against stiffer competition, which they surely will be in the semi-final if they make it into the final as well. But yeah,